I would like to welcome you to our DVD celebrating the 100th Féis in Kilcorney. To start our DVD, we will go to where it all started, and grandson of the late Liam O'Vukla will give us a tour.
Thanks, Lena. Welcome to the Hall Kilcorney, my home, the home of my father Sean, and of his father Liam O'Vukla. This house would have been built approximately 1915. Over the door of the house you can see a plaque which my dad was very proud of, which says that this is the home of Liam O'Vukla, born in 1882 and who died in 1941, who would have been the original founder of Kilcorney Féis in 1910. To the left you can see the hall, which was called the Riverside Ballroom, where all Féis dances and various plays and things went on from the 1920s right up to the 1960s and 70s. Up here to my right you can see the steps up to Toomey's Field, where Kilcorney Féis would have been held from approximately 1920 up to 1978. Just before we go up the steps to Toomey's Field, this is here where the gate used to be for the entrance to the Féis itself. I can remember the gate person here would be Jerry Dennehy, Sean Sheehan, Richie Goggin and Paddy Hallidan. And what used to happen is the adults would be charged, the children would be charged, but then from once the fees were paid, the children could compete in as many of the competitions as they wanted to. There was no entry fee, and I think that probably came along probably in the 90s. Here to my left then, this is where the shop used to be when the Féis was held here in Toomey's Field. There would be a counter there, and inside there my Uncle Jory, I can remember him so well, and that would be fully stocked, and I've great memories of that shop, I must say, personally. Up here to my right are the steps up to the field, and I think we'll go up to the field now and we'll have a quick look around. Welcome to Toomey's Field. This is where the Féis would have been held up to 1978. Down here to my left you will see a permanent structure that was there and is still there today, which would have been the dancing stage. I have great memories of getting this field ready for several Féises. My father and my brothers and Sean Sheehan and other helpers, committee members, we would come in, and trailers would come in here, and we'd have one trailer here. Farmers would bring in 3 trailers. One would be down there near that tree there that you're looking at the moment, and there would be 2 more trailers here to the left, one for recitation, one for singing, and another stage for the music. The bazaar was a huge part of the day, and you had a table with all the prizes at the middle of the enclosure, and I can remember the many great characters that would sell the tickets from the bazaar. I'd remember Mick Desmond, Mikey Tuhig, Clem Kelleher, of course, Dinny Sheehan, Paddy Reardon, Donny Burke Mandit, Pat and Sheila Flynn, Angela Burke, Peg Sheehan, and my God, they were all wonderful people and great contributors to the success of the Kilcorney Feis. Up here then we'd have an enclosure, I remember, for bow lofting, and the bow lofting would have been manned by John Cummins for so many years, and John Crimmen would help him out. Another sideshow we'd have would be ring throwing, and in the ring throwing arena it would have been Christy Lucy and Johnny Sheehan that used man that for many years. When the Feis was here in the earlier days, there would have been a ditch along the top there. The field wouldn't have gone all the way up. But my God, it was a fantastic field for the Feis with the lovely slope down, and people could, see the young performers doing their dancing, doing their singing, and what a wonderful occasion it used to be. And I personally would have just so many wonderful memories of getting it all ready. And up here, somewhere around this point here, we used to put in the flagpole, and the tricolour would be raised there the morning of the Feis, and it was a beautiful sight, I have to say. And at the end of all that, then in the evening, the flag would be taken down, and hopefully, and it was in most occasions, another successful Feis would have taken place. We're now coming over the bridge from the Hall Kilcorney, and we're looking at O'Shea's Field, where the Feis was held from 1979 until 1994, 14 wonderful years. This field, again, had its advantages. One was that we had to put a temporary stage up for the dancing, and that was mounted on 90 pallets from the creamery in Kilcorney, and it was put together in 3 parts, and it was an absolutely fabulous stage. It used to be in the field with the back facing the Kilcorney creamery, and Kilcorney creamery is where the actual first Feis was held in 1910. It also was very nice in that in the background you had Kilcorney Grotto, and I certainly remember some wonderful last Sundays in May with that as the backdrop to the Feis. Welcome back to the hall again after that very quick tour of where the Feis was held for nearly 80 years. One thing that's, I suppose, in my head now is that in here in the hall on the left, all the props from all those Feises still remain. All the seating, the flagpole that I mentioned earlier on, are still retained inside here in the dance hall. And I know that if we had to, in a couple of days, we could go up and recreate the whole thing again. The one thing I suppose we couldn't bring back are the wonderful people that were involved for so many years in the Feis. So many characters, too many to mention, and our viewers will all have memories of those people. On a personal level, I think of Liam O'Bucla, the founder of Kilcorney Feis, who is buried north of us here, a short distance in Old Kilcorney Cemetery. And also my own dad, Sean, who is buried in St. Mary's Cemetery in Millstreet. Sean died at Christmas, on Christmas Day last, 2008, and unfortunately wasn't around to see the 100th Feis. I know he would have loved to have seen it, but my God, he saw a lot of them and contributed, as many others, to the real cultural event in the locality of Kilcorney, and that everyone should be very proud of.
Joining us now to talk about his grandfather Liam O'Bucla and his family's involvement in Féis Kilcorney is Taig Buckley. Taig, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Just that we might talk a little bit about your grandfather, Taig.
Okay. Liam O'Bucla was born in 1882 in Rathcoole. There would have been a family of 6, 2 boys and 4 girls. He left school at 14, which would have been the normal thing at that time. He stayed at home for a while farming, and then he went to Ballingeary to Irish College. And 1906, I think it was, he qualified as a teacher.
Okay.
And his first posting would have been to Gorey in Wexford. Due to homesickness, he left it quite quickly and returned back to Kilcorney. And he was very involved with Cumann na Gael then in Rathcoole as well, with James Pomeroy. My granddad, Liam, would have been very much involved in teaching the Irish, and James Pomeroy would have been involved in teaching the singing and music. And 1910, they founded, in September 1910, they founded Kilcorney Féis. And the connection between Kilcorney Creamery and the Féis continued right up to the 90s until the late Jerry Creedon, Dermot O'Creedon, was involved. So that was a great connection all the years.
Right.
He was a real proud Irishman, very deep roots in everything that was Irish. When the Féis was founded, I suppose you've got to remember at the time, you're talking about the country was under English rule, no telephones, no mobiles, no electricity, and we were honoured really in that in 1994 my dad, who kept all the correspondence that my grandfather had in relation to Féis, he handed it over to the Cork Archives Institute, and they gave us this book, a descriptive list of all the papers, which runs to about 200 articles and letters and so forth. And if I may, I'll just kind of maybe cover a couple of interesting things that I kind of highlighted on it, which I suppose the first thing here is from C. Quinn, who would be in the Cork Archives Institute. And if I just give you the last paragraph, it says, Liam Ó Buachla's life and his papers stand testament to the commitment in the first half of the 20th century of a small group of people who worked tirelessly for the preservation of the Irish language. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Ó Buachla spoke and wrote Irish fluently. His unwavering commitment to Kilcorney Féis ensured the preservation and rejuvenation of the traditional song and dance in the Mill Street area in County Cork. Ó Buachla's papers do not reflect much of his time of his day-to-day running as a shopkeeper or dance hall proprietor, but they give an invaluable insight to the ethos of the time and the motivation of many Gaelic leaguers. Special thanks are due to Mr. Sean Ó Buachla, his son, who donated the papers of his late father, Liam Ó Buachla, to the Cork Archives Institute. There is obviously record 131 is a card from Padraig Pearse, and it's a postcard, and it features a view of St. Inda's College and thanking him for his recent correspondence. And I know that was something my dad was very proud to have that. And I think, like his father, he was very involved and a great man again to keep records of everything. And, you know, we're very lucky to have that legacy as well, you know. So. And
well, thank you very, very much for speaking to us. And I mean, it has been so interesting, as I said, to go back, you know, so many generations really. And, and you know, it's lovely to have those memories, you know, with your family's long time involvement in the Féis. So thanks very much.
Well, look, can I just say a big thank you to you too, Cliona, for running the Féis and bringing it to the 100th year, which I think was a real tribute to the whole thing. I thought it ran very well the 2 days, blessed with very good weather, and we're very grateful to you and your committee for all the work you've done as well. And best of luck with it. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Now we will take a look at a short clip which was filmed in 1999, just 10 years ago, at the Féis.
Kid Mila Palter of Gokane on Sono, Gri Féis Kilcorney, Nedig Nokane. As we are now in the last year of a very historic century, it would be right and proper to look back at some important events that has changed the face of our country. Kilcorney Féis, founded in 1910. National Independence 1922. The aims of those organizations were both cultural and political. As this is the last Féis of the century, I am sure the founder members would be very glad to have this great cultural event still continuing. This actually is the first time that we have had a real international dimension to this Féis. I want to extend a Cíd Míle Fáilte to the German group here today. Their presence is indeed very special for us, and I'm sure they will enjoy their holiday in Ireland and for the remaining days that they may spend around. I would like to sing loud here on my right, Annie Murphy, who I have been communicating with, and we are arranging this very special visit here today. I think she deserves a very big hand. Also, we had here already today another international dimension, some friends from the USA, and later on in the evening, I know we will have some other friends from the UK. Now, the German group are being presented here on the stage to give us an exhibition of dancing. Thank you.
Rinka is the Jubilee Shield here behind my back, which you see here before you, and it's one of the most treasured trophies to be won here at Kilcorney Féis each year. And the Féis Committee, seeing as that we're coming to the end of the millennium and to the end, effectively we're in a Jubilee situation, because next year we'll see the start of the last year officially of the current millennium, even that we are celebrating the new millennium with the advent of the year 2000. The Féis Committee have decided to honour the people who have won the Shield down the years. And there are a number of them present with us here in the hall. Maybe not as athletic looking as they were when they won it. Maybe not as small as they were when they won it, I don't know. But I have some of we have some of them here with us, and I believe Sean has the name. So we'll ask them to come forward and we'll make a presentation to them. We'll ask Sean to make the presentations first anyway, just in case they get shy. I suppose we'll take it from the top. Marie Matthews. Is Marie with us? Right. Well done, Marie. We have Catherine next, who is a Maltorach here today. Well done, Catherine. We have Anna O'Callaghan next, and is one of our troopers in score as well. I assume, as the only man, Jason is next. Probably one of the more recent winners, if not the most recent winner. I have Marie Casey, who's not exactly next in the line, but she's next on my list. Well done, Marie. Marie, of course, is a Kentucky girl, now resident in Carrigaline. I have Deirdre Sheehan. Well done, Deirdre. Siobhan Crimmin. Valerie Murphy. Breda Mulcahy. Oh God, because Breed. And I take it it's Lorraine at the end. Now, in fairness, only bar Jason alone, don't they look like former winners of the Rose of Tralee? Now, are we going to get a step? Are we going to get a step from some of you, or at least from all of you? We'll get a step from some couple anyway. No, I think they're all reneging. They're going to live on what glory they have. So well done, in fairness, and we want to congratulate all these people. From year to year, the shields and the trophies are won by different people, and it's only when you see them together, like we have them here today, or at least a representative sample of them, or a representative gathering of them, that one appreciates the history that's attached to the fish and the honour with which these people have treasured the actual winning of the trophies down the years.
Any reason why you picked this very special instrument?
It's lighter.
It's lighter. That's great. And you play it so well. Goramil Mahagat Mihal, and you're keeping the tradition of the Irish tradition alive in such a wonderful manner. I think you'll agree, Sean.
Yeah, concertina.
Concertina. You'd often see those in Kilcorney Féis.
Yeah, long ago. Although they were long ago, but they came back again.
Yes,
They went out for a long time, but they're coming back again.
Yeah. What in fact, Sean, has been the most common instrument that you'd see being played at the Féisina in recent years?
The Féisina, the violin is kind of, violin playing is coming back again.
Yes.
At one stage, it was very hard to get violin players, but there's a lot of them seem to be around now at the moment. I played fiddle myself, of course.
Absolutely, and wonderfully so. Wonderful. You still play, Sean, in great style?
Well, I don't at the moment.
Oh, well, you've played many a wonderful tune, absolutely.
I did.
And Kilcorney Féis, of course, has been going so many years.
1910 was the first one, sure.
And it was your dad?
My dad, yes, that founded the Féis in
My
1910. And it was in the premises of Kilcorney Creamery. They held the first Féis.
Right.
In 1910.
And when the Féis was outdoors, wasn't there a very special atmosphere?
Oh, there was, of course, yeah. But of course, with the weather, and
yes. There were many a year you had to cancel it and defer it.
Yeah.
That's right.
I remember a year one particular year in Kilcorney, it was raining like mad in the morning. It was Father Abernethy, Lord, that's the Muslim that died.
Indeed.
And during the mass, and he said a prayer that to be fine
Yes.
for the for
The
Kilcorney
itself,
fish.
yes.
So he came down afterwards anyway, and it was teeming rain in the morning, teeming. Next thing it got fine all of a sudden, and the rest of the day was really a fine day.
It was like a Kilcorney miracle.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Absolutely.
right. That happened now. Yeah.
And Sean, we have some wonderful footage of yourself dancing outside the wonderful home there of the late Ned Reardon, which later was bought by Sean O'Shearcon.
Yes,
and
that's right.
there you were dancing outside the thatched cottage.
That's
Do you remember
right.
the day?
I do indeed, very well indeed.
Can you tell us what you remember from it, Sean?
Well, these people came along anyway, and they wanted to know would I dance a step.
In fact, one of the other situations there was that on that particular day itself, if you remember, the people that joined on that particular day itself.
Yeah, Casey's, there were Casey's now.
Right.
They were from Tournafulla.
Right.
Just came to
Casey's
me.
from Tournafulla.
And they're now living in Kanturk.
Yeah. But Sean, you've been dancing since the age of when?
Since the age of 6 or 8, I
My
suppose.
goodness. So you've
But
danced a fair few
I tell
steps.
you, one time, I was about 9 years, I broke my leg one time. Fell off a tree.
Right.
I crabbed tree, and I was in Mill Street Hospital I was for 6 weeks in Mill Street Hospital, the flat of my back now.
Yes.
Those days there was no injections or nothing, only just,
It was just rest.
yeah,
Rest.
and bone,
Yes.
put lats in my
Right,
feet.
right.
But that particular, that was now during, I was in there during Christmas period.
Yes.
All through the Christmas period I was there, like.
Right.
So on the following May of the fish I competed the following year.
Yes.
For step dancing the following year.
The leg had healed by then.
Had healed, yes.
My goodness. That's
Yes,
brilliant.
yes.
And finally, to conclude our DVD of the 100th Fish in Kilcorney, we will show you clips of interviews, the music, the dancing, also the remembrance mass that was held on the Sunday evening, and finishing off with our Ceilidh. Hope you all enjoy it. Thank you very much.
give those men a huge boulevard. I'd like to call on the Secretary of the Fish, Clean Brown.
I would just like to take this opportunity as Chairperson of Kilcorney Community Council to welcome you all here today to celebrate with us this 100th fish. This is truly a historic day, and I and the committee members are honoured to be and privileged to be a part of it. When one speaks of Féis Kilcorney, the O'Bucla family, and Sean in particular, are first to mind. Over 90 years, the last weekend in May was Fish Weekend in their home, and we applaud their years of dedication to keeping traditional song and dance alive. As a mark of respect to the late Sean O'Bucla and the many committee members that have passed, who worked tirelessly over the years to continue this tradition, I call for a minute's silence. The vintage tractors and the cars that turned out in huge numbers today to be a part of this historic day. As Gerald already said, for the pipe band also who have come and to celebrate with us, we thank them very, very much. On behalf of Kilcorney Community Council, we would just like to make a small presentation to the Buckley family in memory of Sean, and it's just to mark the 100th celebration. So we'd have Liam maybe just to make the little presentation there. So all that's left for me to do is to wish our competitors the best of luck and hope that you all enjoy the weekend. Could have Mila Mahagut. And now I would like to call on Liam O'Bucla just to say a few words.
Thanks, Gina. I'm very honoured to represent the Buckley family here today on this historic occasion. I'm sure my grandfather, after whom I'm named, would be very proud to think that the vision he had in setting up and continuing the culture and tradition continues 100 years later. I'm sure he would be particularly proud that the tradition was continued by his son for over 60 years. Sadly, even though my father isn't here to celebrate this great occasion, I'm sure his spirit will continue to shine brightly on the last Sunday of May of every year. I would like to recognise and to thank everybody who has helped over the last 100 years, from committee members to helpers to people who provided trailers and to everybody who helped in any way. And I'd particularly like to thank the committee for continuing tradition and especially for a fantastic occasion today on this historic occasion. Thank you very much. To honour the 100th Féis today, a special book has been commissioned. It's written by Dan O'Keefe, for whom I'd like to thank very much for putting this fantastic book together. I'd like to thank as well Charlie for organising the printing and for anybody who helped in any way. Thank you very much. The book is available. I think it's €5. Thanks very much.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, all we're left to do is ask Liam O'Bucla to cut the tape for officially open the 100th Féis. And you, on the count of three, Liam, we'll ask you to cut that here. Are you ready?
Hold on. Once again, hold on.
A hand,
Hold on.
a door, a three, chop. Chop. Top. And hold there now, there's another one here. This is for Hello Magazine here. Moment, we have just noticed that a very special book has been commissioned entitled Kilcorney Community Feis, celebrating 100 years. Now, when we opened the book itself, there's some fascinating photographs, but we discovered a photograph that I believe I would have taken myself in 1980, and it shows a man called Paddy O'Callaghan, the late Paddy O'Callaghan here, with the late Sean O'Bucla. And of course Sean was hugely instrumental in the Feis itself over the years. But the very interesting thing is that Sean is looking at a medal that Paddy won in 1914. And believe it or not, we have that medal here today, won 96 years on. And with me at the moment are the grandsons and the great-grandsons of the late Paddy O'Callaghan. First of all, we're speaking with John. John, this is just a fascinating treasure to have in the family.
It's nice to have it, John, yeah. And what we can make out from it is that it was one for I'd say it was a 7-mile road race. And that's it there with his initials on it.
Amazing altogether. And to think that this was actually won 96 years ago.
6 years ago, yeah. That's right.
Just amazing altogether. And here today, celebrating the very special occasion, your good brother is right over here. Please introduce us to the family here, John.
This is Pat, my brother.
Pat? Yeah. Very historic.
Very historic, very interesting, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
And especially for the next generation, because we now have...
Michael.
Michael.
Toomey. This is Connor.
Connor.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing it, John, and every good luck on your tractor run at this point.
Fine, thanks very much, John. Okay.
Thank you all very much indeed. Well, now we're joined by two very important people in the Kilcorney Feis project itself. Of course, we speak with Mr. Charlie O'Sullivan, and Dick Pomeroy. And Charlie, what an historic day here in Kilcorney.
It's wonderful. I mean, it's extraordinary to think that we're around still to celebrate 100 years. I mean, when I think about it, I'm 76 years and I'm really involved that special day.
You don't look a day over 60, by the way.
Since I was 10 years old. And here it is. Wonderful, wonderful altogether.
So you remember it from childhood?
Oh, God, yes. Going down across the rock down with the few pennies and Paddy Hallidan at the gate, and we tried a few rabbit burrows to get in through the hedge, but it was always sealed off. So we tried puce pencils to kind of camouflage the stamp, but again, it didn't work. We had to produce our pennies. Yeah.
And when it was outdoors and when it was down in the original setting near the hall, that was so very special.
Oh, sure, it was wonderful, and there was a natural, slope in Toomey's field.
It's almost like a theatre.
It was. We had the two stages there, you see.
And now, also, of course, we have Dick Pomeroy with it. And Dick, tell us your memories of Kilcorney Feis on this historic day.
Well, firstly, of course, his grandfather was one of the first. He was part of the first committee that organised the Feis 100 years ago.
My goodness, that is truly historic. And here you're representing your family here today.
My grandfather, yes. I'm sure he'd be proud to be here today. But
and how it has developed, and how it's so strong and vibrant at the moment.
It is.
So, what do you think of the official opening here today, Dick?
I was delighted, very pleased, and very pleased to be asked to attend here and represent my grandfather. And I hope that in 100 years' time there'll be some other Pomeroy around to come to it.
Very true. That's a beautiful, beautiful wish there. And Charlie, I think so say all of us.
So say all of us. And we'd like to thank Dick for coming and to represent his grandfather, because we owe so much to those people that had the vision to start the fish in Kilcorney 100 years ago.
Well done.
So we're delighted that Dick took time out to be here to represent a great man in his granddad.
Thanks very much.
Well, today being the 100th anniversary, we're very pleased to have somebody who is part and parcel of the Kilcorney fish down over the years. We have, of course, Ted Collins from Knockahel and Ratcool. So, Ted, what are your earliest memories of Kilcorney fish?
Well, my earliest memories are I'm coming here for years. Further back, I suppose, and I can't remember since I suppose I was 5 or 6 years of age, since I was able to understand things. But my mother, God rest her, that time, and we're coming nearly every year, annually since then.
Right.
Yeah.
Are there any special memories that kind of stand out in your mind over those years?
Well, it was a great event. We were always looking forward to it, because there wasn't that amount of events on at them times, in those days. So the music and dance and singing and all that was very enjoyable. We enjoyed it very well.
So, what about the Cayleys, Ted?
Then the fish night, well, that was when I went a bit further with, when I was on the floor, as we'll say. The Cayleys were a mighty event on them nights, the fish night. We always had a Cayley.
Can you remember some of the bands that played there?
Can I remember the bands? No, we could have the Mill Street Rovers there at that time, and there was more individuals that were playing, who would be playing here at the fish.
Yes.
And they always played as well on the night of the fish.
Thanks, Ted. It was nice to meet somebody.
Charlie, it's great to be here. Hoping we'll make a few more of them.
Thanks, Ted. Now, of course, we move on a couple generations later, and I'm delighted to have today here with us Pat Golden from Quenelo. In fact, I think some of his forefathers were part of the first committee that organised Kilcorney Fish. Now, Pat, I think his involvement spread over 30 years. So, Pat, again, I suppose we ask the same question. What are your memories over those years?
I suppose big memories really are the first years when I began was at the gate and helping Sean Sheehan, the late great Sean Sheehan, and I suppose it was a great honour to be asked to get involved in the fish, and I think it's fair to say that Sean was my great model at the time, and he taught me so much over those first few years, and stuff which I learned and which went on afterwards and which served me very well as I went on to other things as well. So it is.
I noticed that your photograph has popped up on a number of occasions when we were putting the book together. Did some of those photographs remind you of those days?
Oh yeah, they did, yeah. I mean, the fish was the great social event around Kilcorney. It was something that was formed, I suppose, originally to give the people of Kilcorney and the people of Cork generally a kind of a self-belief in what they were doing, and it gave them the encouragement to go on and to achieve other things, and it probably helped to achieve independence in that. And look at those photographs. It was the times being in George Shea's field, which was later on, and I started up with Dan Toomey's field when we were behind the hall there. And I mean, there were some fantastic days, big crowds. The weather wasn't always fantastic, but we managed to make it through anyway. And there were some wonderful times.
So thanks, Pat. I mean, we filled the gap from Ted Collins's period, and you brought us up to the present date. And again, thanks, Pat, for coming along and giving your memories to us. Thanks, Pat.
I'm Dara Shachtana, le haim no riordan. Is malam an Dara Shachtana, ma vin sus a gomon skull. Fanam imma hisan iha, ganobarwalya led the hull. Fe camer and telefish, ma irim sha gamuk. Ach barlam gamur marivra, ma vin an I'm shafluk. Tahanin an kish fellam, le carda riv am lone. Ach is farlam clehe pello, ur egan sunir known. Ni malam an la dog, mar ni clehe fornia e. Barlam fe in fellador, is beg le coon of day.
Again, we're so happy and delighted to have a link with the musicians who played for Kilcorney Féis over many, many, many years. And of course, everybody remember the famous Dennis O'Keefe from Rathmore. Now, we're privileged today to have his son Willem here, remembering those wonderful, wonderful occasions. So we'll hand over to Willem here, and he'll be able to recall some of those many, many happy days that his dad played here. Was it for 35 years?
I think so, something around that time anyway, yeah. I was only small at the time, I got soon, so he brought me a couple of times, but I believe it's 30 or 35 years. He played the tin melodeon, and musicians must have been scarce at the time because he lived in Rathmore, and they used to send a car for him every Féis day, and then bring him home again in the evening. So it's a great occasion, and I'm delighted to be here on the 100th anniversary. That's the reason I came, to see what it's like after all those years. Thank you.
Thanks, Willem, and we appreciate you coming, and we appreciate you making the contribution to this video. We have Tim Leader, who was the former chairman of the Community Council here in Kilcorney. What were the challenges that you had to face?
I suppose when one of the first challenges we took out when I was chairman is that we built the community centre here at the back where the Féis is being held today. It was felt at the time there was no facility for playing indoor games or having meetings or anything, so we decided to go ahead and build a community centre, and that was during the last recession, during the early 80s, and we set about acquiring a site and set about building it. We kind of built it on ad hoc basis. We put up the shed part at first, and then we got someone to lay the blocks. And once that was achieved, and we opened it in 1986, and it has been here ever since. And it is here now that the Féis are here held annually since they moved up from the hall. And also the school use it every 2 or 3 times a week, so it's an invaluable facility in the area. And I think it was an important move. It was one of the first challenges that I took on as chairman, and as you know, chairman is only part of a team, and we had a great team that put together, that built that community centre.
Okay, Tim, thanks for reminding us of the achievements that you as chairman of the Community Council here, and obviously the work that you have put into the sheltered housing. Thanks, Tim. Now, with me now, I have 3 very special people, all the ways from New York. I have Charlie and Cormac here, and their daughter Sasha, who this year obviously is competing, not for her first time. So Charlie, what I'd like to ask you, how in fact did you make contact, or how did you get to know about Kilcorney Féis?
Well, I have to confess it was the internet that did it all, because I was able to find a Féis the first time we had come to Ireland 2 years ago that was going on at the same time, and it was right here in Kilcorney, and it would give my daughter a chance to say that she danced in Ireland. So we were very excited about coming here, but it was the internet that allowed us to discover this.
It's wonderful to have representation from New York City, and we hope that you'll be coming many years to come yet. And thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'd love to come back.
Okay.
Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb, its fleece as white as snow. Everywhere did Mary went, Mary went, Mary went. Everywhere did Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fishing line, 6, 7, 8, and 10. Then I let it go again. Why do you let go? Got it between my fingers, so which finger did it bit? This you finger on the right.
Now, Martin, we're delighted here to have somebody from the old days back along, and he brought along some photographs and plaques that he won, in Kilcorney. John Cullinan from Cork. So I'll hand you over to John, and he'll give you the full background and story to his success.
Okay, well, as I say, my name is John Cullinan. I'm a dance teacher from Cork City, and I'm actually Vice President of the Irish Dancing Commission worldwide. But as a young lad, myself, my sister and all our friends started out getting our training here at Kilcorney Féis. Some of the mementos that I have is in 1959 they presented a shield for the senior dancing. for the Senior Dancing Championship here at Kilcorney to commemorate at that stage their 50th Féis. Now, I won it in 1961, 62 and 63, and thereby I was allowed to keep it technically, because if you won it 3 times you were allowed to keep it. But I represented the shield back, conscious of the fact that it should be perpetual and never to be won outright again. So I was on the email today to a friend of mine, you wouldn't believe it, in South Africa, and she was going down to a place called Kimberley. They were having their second Féis there, and I inaugurated those Féises and dancing out there in South Africa, and I just signed off on my email, well, sorry now, I won't be able to be at Kimberley. I have a date with Kilcorney for their 100th anniversary. Well done to Kilcorney. Cógádagus míle magas.
Thank you. Thanks, son.
Trasna na downta dul sheer, slán le sean oig na sit slán le sean gien. Galé machrí agus galí hungrian, galveg villa gaheran. Conig ma gohan de hira again, or agus arrogate sever sontel. Irene on crinum lebrock a gogley, snake dridum le duhig ma winter. August trastan a downta, dul sheer, slán le sean oig na sit slán le sean gien. Galí machrí agus galí hungrian, galveg villa gaheran. Muinter an near her shit cord a machrí, falta his féile verom gogtef, a higgins and tail shall shake we Henri. Carlos and a heel varigil me, August trasna na downta, dul sheer, slán le sean oig na sit slán le sean gien. Galé machrí agus galí hungrian, galveg villa gaheran.
Stopping by Woods in a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village Doe. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop put out a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bell to shake, to ask if there were some mistake. The only other sound asleep is easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, Doe, I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.
Joining me now is Denjo O'Keefe, and Denjo is our local historian and author of the special publication that was written to mark the 100th celebration of Kilcorney Féis. So Denjo's going to give us a few words on his memories and the local history associated with Kilcorney Féis.
Well, Cleon, as you know, Kilcorney Féis is an institution. Some of these all nailed in. When I was growing up as a young lad, I was saying, I think to you earlier, that there was 2 big days on the calendar, social calendar around Kilcorney and Radcool, and Bantier Sports, which of course no longer there. That was in June, I think. And of course Kilcorney Féis the last Sunday of May. And everybody got to Kilcorney Féis because it was just more than a Féis day, it was a community day out. And everybody met. Well, there weren't too many cars that day, you know, or too many fun holidays at that time, Cleona, and everybody went to Kilcorney Féis to meet and have a day out and hear the singing and music, and besides that, take part. It was kind of a festival as well, you know. And as I can recall as a young lad going over there, and children were free that time, but I remember going in the gate. The late Paddy Hallinan of Radcool would always be on the gate, and he had this little stamper. I always remember it was a blue ink, and he'd say, "Hold out your hand there and I'll stamp it." And so you know then that when you went in, Paddy could check you coming out to make sure that you were on the paying cal going with your parents, because adults obviously paid too much. What it was I can't recall now, but it wasn't very much. But there were huge crowds that I remember well. They were held in Toomey's field on the paddock at the back of the hall. Anybody who knows the area over there would know you go up the steps by the side of the hall and into Toomey's field. And it was an ideal field because it was like a mini stadium. There was a height in the middle of the field, and then you looked down onto the stages, and there was about 4 stages at that time, you know, the dancing, the singing, the recitations and whatever. And you could sit there for a fine day, which often it was, and watch the whole proceedings, and if not, then you could have a go at the many sideshows. I remember being at the egg and spoon race, and indeed, I remember many a time Bill Dennehy, the late Bill Dennehy of Bullimore, would be in charge, and any fellow who put his thumb on the egg was promptly disqualified. And one of my great memories was a tug-of-war between the schools of Radcool and Kilcorney, and the late Jackie O'Keefe, God be good to him, was on the end of the rope for Radcool. And there was a strict rule, like you couldn't fall, but Jackie had said to me before the tug-of-war that he was going to line the rope, and by the time they had to move him. But anyway, Bill Dennehy was in charge, and Bill found that Jackie was lying. And I remember him saying one time, he said, "Young, if you don't get up, say, you'll feel the tip of my boot." So Jackie had to rise, and I remember Kilcorney pulled us the same day, but it didn't go down too well with Jackie Keefe. But anyway, there's stories about that. But there were other many stories about the Féis. It was really, as I said to you, a great community day, and there was a great kind of a good feeling about the Féis. People gathered and they'd be talking about it for weeks, and there was a great many things going on as well. It wasn't just what happened in the field. There was football games and camogie games over the years, road races, cross-country races.
Denjo, thank you very much for joining us and sharing those memories with us, and especially on behalf of Community Council, to thank you so much for your time and the effort that you've put into getting this book ready and making it so special. Because I said, it's somebody with a wealth of knowledge like yours, local knowledge, that makes a book like this even more special. So just on behalf of Kilcorney Community Council, thank you very much.